What's going on, guys? Diamond here, back with you guys for a brand new video today, and today's video is going to be the top 5 things I absolutely love about my Mustang GT. Let's get started. If you haven't seen the 5 things that I hate about my Mustang GT, you should go check that out right now before watching this one, before finding the things I love about it. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So guys, the first thing that I do love about the Mustang GTs is the new reverse lockout system. All you got to do is just simply lift up this metal piece on the shift knob and throw it as if you're throwing it into first gear, and you're in reverse. And usually whether you have the Sync 2 or the Sync 3, your reverse backup camera will go on and letting you know that you are in reverse and ready to reverse. And all you have to do to take it out of reverse is simply throw it out of gear as if you're throwing it into neutral, and then put it into first and you're ready to go. It's a cool little feature. It's a new feature to the Mustang. Ever since the S197 Mustangs, you had to push down onto the shift knob and throw it into, like, as if you're throwing it into first, and you'd be in reverse. I think somewhat it's like a safety feature or something new that Ford implemented under the Mustang, you know, for first-time drivers or something, or, you know, just in case, you know, you want to race someone or do a dig or whatever. You don't put pressure onto the shift knob and act as if you're in first gear when you're actually in reverse, and then you launch in reverse, and that's no good on your behalf. So I think Ford did that. Just a cool little feature. I like the reverse lockout system on the MT82 transmissions for the S550s. And as you can tell, I have the GT350 style shift knob from American Muscle in replacement of the factory shift knob. By the way, guys, the shift knob is really awesome. Feels good in the hands. I didn't need to use any type of Loctite or anything. There's a bolt under here under the shift knob that keeps it in place. So far it hasn't even came loose or anything. No adjustments were required. But anyways, guys, back to the reverse lockout. Great system overall. I enjoy it a lot. Easy to use, and it keeps the driver itself comfortable when driving this transmission, and yeah, overall satisfied. So that's one feature I like about this car. And now the second thing I like about the Mustangs S550s is when you modify the exhaust, you get this. As you can see, that was a cold start. Now, if you haven't already noticed, my exhaust setup is I have the Corsa Double X pipe and muffler delete, so I guess you can say technically straight pipe, but not really. Loud cold start, echoes, sounds like a cannon going off. When you get on it, it sounds freaking gnarly. It sounds like a monster. It sounds like a true V8. Now, the factory exhaust, like I mentioned in my previous video, the 5 things I hate about the Mustang GT, is the factory exhaust is totally quiet. It's annoying. It's obnoxious. I mean, I couldn't stand it the first time I got this Mustang stock. I couldn't stand it. So I went and bought a set of muffler deletes as a start, low budget. It sounded a little bit better than you know, factory. So then I got this catback exhaust. And yeah, it sounds so much better. It sounds like a true V8, like all V8 should. But yeah, that's another thing I like about the Mustangs, is when you modify the exhaust, you know, you put headers, you take out the factory cats or whatever, you saw the factory headers, whatever it is, if you modify this exhaust, the Coyote sounds awesome. It sounds so awesome. The third thing, ladies and gentlemen, that I love about the Mustang GTs is the new S550 body style. Yes, I know it's 2019 and the newest second gen S550 just came out, but the first gen S550 I'm talking about here, just the body style. When it first came out, you know, everyone was all in love with the S197 2013-14 GTs because, you know, it was a fresh look. But then when these came out, you know, it actually stunned a lot of people when, you know, Ford was taking these models out and driving them, you know, when they had the camo or whatever, like the covers over them to, you know, hide the car, like a lot of companies do nowadays still. But I mean, the body style itself, I mean, you can do so much with these body styles. And I know what you're going to say. Duh, you can pretty much customize the way your ride looks with any other type of car, but there is so much you can do with specifically the S550, you know, exterior and interior and performance wise, that you have a wide range of options to choose from when it comes to how you want your ride to look. And you know, you can keep it factory, you know, it doesn't matter. You can go all out and, you know, bag it, or if you don't know what that means in street terminology, which means lower it, you know, wide body kits, you know, change the way this car looks from factory to the way you want it to be. And it's amazing. I mean, just from the front and back, you know, you see this rolling down the street, you know that's a Mustang. And I really love the way Ford went with this route for 2015 to 17. You know, a fresh start to the Mustang, a fresh look to it. I mean, just the body style just captures my attention every time I see an S550 out in the streets. So bear with my engine bay, ladies and gentlemen, but the fourth thing I love about the Mustangs is the Coyote engine. This is the Generation 2 that came with 2015 to 2017s. These things pack so much horsepower, it's insane. These motors come factory stock with 440 horsepower to the crank with 400 pound-feet of torque, ladies and gentlemen. That is insane from 2015. If you look at it when it just first came out, that packed a lot of punch. It added more horsepower than the Generation 1 Coyote. They perfected it a lot more than the Generation 1. And what's great about, you know, both three generations of Coyotes is that these motors were made for power. They were made, I mean, you can go get one of these motors, just factory, crate, whatever, and just throw twin turbos, throw a big old Paxton in it, or turbo system, or even supercharger system, and, you know, good fuel system, and that's pretty much all you have to do. I mean, these things were just made for massive amounts of power. I mean, I've seen a lot of people's, you know, Coyotes that are pushing almost 1,000 horsepower, factory motor, factory, you know, transmission, whether it be automatic or manual. These things were just meant for like pretty much 1,000 horsepower. It's insane. I mean, right now all I have is just a cold air intake by Aerate and just the catback exhaust. I'm going to be doing a E85 tune, a flex fuel tune, and that's great about these Mustangs too, is that for Generation 2 and 3 you can go to your local dyno shop and you can get a flex fuel tune, and but you gotta have a tuner for it, and go get E85 whether you live, and you know, you can switch it around every once in a while, you know, go back to 93 or back to E85 and just make sure you have the right tune for it. But these motors in general are just amazing. It's insane. Love the Generation 2 Coyote. It's just a massive piece of work, a massive engine in here. I mean, there's no room to work around this engine bay because of how massive this motor is, and it's just awesome. This is American muscle right here. It's beautiful, phenomenal. I forgot to mention to you guys that keep in mind that the Generation 1 and Generation 2 Coyote engines, they're technically not 5.0 liters, they're technically 4.9, but you know, Ford just rounded off to 5.0. Now the Generation 3 for 2018-2019, those are real true 5.0s. Do the math. I mean, no one really has time for math, but you know, if you're going from, you know, if you're a professional, you know, like car reviewer and stuff like that, then you're gonna want to know all the good facts. And you know, Generation 2 and Generation 1 Coyotes, they're technically 4.9 liter engines, but Ford just rounded them off to 5.0. And what I mean by Generation 1, 2, and 3 Coyotes is Generation 1 Coyotes were from the S197 Mustangs, and then Generation 2 were from 2015 to 2017, and then Generation 3 Coyotes are from 2018 to 2019. We still haven't had the specs for, you know, 2020 yet, because Ford just only unveiled right now the performance, I want to call it the performance package or EcoBoost or whatever, and the GT500. So we still don't have any specs on the GT yet, but if you do have heard rumors about the new 2020 GT, and if it's going to still stay the same, drop a comment down below. That's much appreciated, so that way I get my facts straight too. But yeah, generation 1 and 2 Coyotes, 4.9s, but rounded off 5.0s, so just keep that in mind. And the fifth and final thing that I absolutely love about my Mustang are these gauges. Yes, that's right, the gauges are awesome. I mean, it still has the modern and classic American muscle styling. I mean, Ford tried to implement, you know, still bringing back the original, you know, needle cluster, and to, you know, from their previous models. And now 2018, 2019 have a 12-inch display, so they get rid of both the needle gauges, and you get rid of this screen, and it's a big screen that's digital. Everything's digital. The speedometer, you know, you can customize it however you want, which is pretty cool. I like it. I've test drove a Mustang with that gauge cluster. It's nice. You know, it brings a refresh to the Mustang. You know, trying to go into the future more of Mustang. But I enjoy it. A lot of people don't, but I enjoy it a lot. But, you know, the gauges here I absolutely love. This is not the premium version or technologies package, whatever package you're confused with or get with. The gauges, you can customize the colors at night. So, you know, you can have, mine are just straight up white because, you know, I have a base GT and I can't customize my colors or anything. But you can customize these to, you know, go green, blue, red, and when you're driving and you shift and you go all the way to red line, the gauge will actually turn full red to let you know, hey, you need to shift, which is a pretty cool feature. You know, some of these gauges are awesome too. You know, you can see your air to fuel ratio, your cylinder head temp, and a lot of people don't really care about these, but so it's sometimes nice to have. You know, you got tire pressure, you can go to see your trip and mileage or whatever. I never reset that because I really don't care. You got track apps. I do have the track apps. All the Mustangs do, whether it be base or performance package or whatever, you get all the track apps. I'm not sure if there's some track apps that are missing from mine because I'm a base, but if you have a performance or a premium that have more track apps than I do, then please let me know. But right now I have the accelerometer, acceleration timer, brake performance, line lock. I can't activate that right now because the car is not on. I have a lap timer, launch control, and I can view all my, you know, my brake performance, all-time best for quarter miles, 8 miles, 0 to 60s. And these are so cool, guys. Like, you can go out into Mexico and, you know, where there's literally no one, an empty road where no one really goes through, and, you know, test these out yourself. You know, I go out half the time and test my launching and my quarter miles, and just to see where I'm at, you know, just because of my basic bolt-on mods, and then to see what will change later on in the future when I get a tune and different modifications performance wise. You got a bunch of driver's assist here. You got hill start assist, which is nice if you're on a steep hill and you try to take off and you don't have this activated. It's going to be a little bit rougher to take off. You'll more than likely going to stall. So hill starts assist is a very nice feature to have here. It makes it a little bit easier to, you know, take off on steep hills if you're going upwards. And then you know, if you're parked for a long time and your engine's still running, your car will automatically shut off after, I believe it's 30 minutes without you know, action performed on the engine if you haven't moved yet. And then, you know, you can check your oil life. You know, you can the courtesy wipe, I don't have that on because it's just I'm not a big fan of that courtesy wipe. I mean, it's just pointless to me. There's a lot of things you can do with these gauges, guys, especially if you have a premium package. I mean, you can change the colors. You can change the colors of the lights when it goes dark, and it just looks a little bit more sporty. I mean, a little bit more luxurious, I guess you could say. But it's a nice feature to have. I'm really big fan of this cluster system. But you know, the newer 2018, 2019s, you also get a digital gauge, mile per hour gauge on here, as to where we don't. So you not only do you get the needle gauge but you also get the digital mile per hour gauge, which is a pretty cool feature to have. But you know, me, I just keep it on fuel economy. I mean, I don't really need to check a lot of things, because you know, I keep my car up to date. You know, so I just keep it up to gas, because the gas on here honestly is terrible. I hate it. You know, but right now it says 20 miles to the gallon, but it's technically really not 20 miles to the gallon. I just do casual driving. You know, I'm really not only racing people on the weekends half the time. This car just sits at work and stuff. So nice digital gauge cluster. I absolutely enjoy it, and I hope you guys do too. If there's anything missing from my cluster to yours, please let me know, so that I can, you know, gain more knowledge from these things too, because I'm still learning about this car even after a year of ownership. So help is always appreciated. So guys, that is going to be the top 5 things I absolutely love about my Mustang GT. Is there something you love about your Mustang GT, whether it be power wise, you know, exterior, interior wise, or all out just Mustang in general? Please let me know what it is. You know, our stories are always welcome here on the channel. But those are the 5 things I love about my Mustang GT. But if you enjoyed the video, please give this video a thumbs up. A subscribe is always appreciated. Turn on my post notifications so you never miss a video from the Dominator himself. And as always guys, be safe, smile more, keep calm and dominate, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.